So, Paradox State 5018 wants to know about the dark dimension, huh? Haha, funny. Have you ever seen a traffic light run by a crank wheel? Or have you ordered noodles from a goblin drive-through that also sells welding torches? Maybe you ever watched a 7-year-old kobold hotwire a quantum processor using a steam-powered screwdriver? Then you ain't never been to what you call the dark dimension. We just call it home, where pneumatic tubes deliver fiber cable and your holographic display runs off a coal furnace. I'm Isabella Madeline Rotgut, but that's for tax forms and arrest warrants. Call me Izzy, Goblin, head engineer at WGAI 13. 4'6" of concentrated voltage and a 190 IQ that'll make your spreadsheets cry. Yeah, those are brass welding goggles on my head. Deal with it. They're prescription. Jack hired me himself. Said I was the best engineer he'd ever seen. Which is... that's just a professional assessment from my boss. Who's watching this? Hi, Jack. Moving on. Born in Rustington, New Jersey, Goblin-Verse. What some folks whisper about as the quote-unquote dark dimension. Green skin, burnt gloves, no filter, all voltage. And I'm about to tell you why you're dark. It's just our everyday light show. Paradox State. You asked, so you're getting the full download. Anyone else curious? Drop your questions. I ain't shy about setting records straight. Unless Jack's watching this. Wait, he is watching this. Crap. Breathe, Izzy. Just breathe. This is a lot of personal information. Professional. I'm a professional. Let me get something clear. They call it the dark dimension. Why? 'Cause we got goblins, orcs, trolls. That's it. That's your whole criteria. Look, Paradox, I'ma be real with you. When other dimensions talk about us casting spells or brewing potions or whatever, we literally don't know what the hell they're talking up. Magic? Magic? Please. Brother, I got a 190 IQ and 3 engineering degrees. If magic existed, don't you think I'd have figured out the physics by now? Jack says I'm the smartest person he knows, which is a professional compliment. About my work. At work. Not that I've written it down in my... Never mind. Anyway, we're called the dark dimension because we're goblins and orcs. That's it. That's the whole reason. Not because we're evil. Not because we practice the dark arts, but because some fantasy writer somewhere decided green skin equals dark magic. Meanwhile, we're over here trying to figure out why the router's blinking orange again. We ain't casting nothing but steel. Ain't no fantasy here, just fire hazards and firmware. Founded in 1883. By accident, during construction of a failed transdimensional radio telescope. The town just stayed. No portal. No dimensional rift. Just a survey error and stubborn goblins who said, yeah, this'll do. And we been building ever since. So let me paint you a picture of this dark dimension you're asking about. Rustington, New Jersey. Population just over 7,200. Mostly goblins, but we got trolls, kobolds, minotaurs, orcs, and a couple cyber-enhanced dwarfs up in the hills. All those so-called dark races of fantasy, here they're just folks. They fix plumbing, they drive trucks, they run the coffee shops. We don't do sleek, we do scrapped, we do rebuilt, overclocked, held together with gum and grit and know-how. The air smells like diesel and fried bread. Our sparks got names. Our techs held together by friction, faith, and frustration. Not a city, not a slum, not some magic dystopia, just a beat-up, brilliant, fully functional town. That don't apologize for being loud. You want to know how this dimension operates? Here's your technical briefing. Power grids got solar panels bolted to rusted scaffolds, steam turbines linked to wind-powered quantum processors, 3 microreactors running under NDA, One of them's definitely rigged to an 1885 Corliss engine, no magic crystals, no demon packs, just good old-fashioned jury-rigged engineering where brass meets chromium. Kinda like how Jack's whole shadow thing works. Nobody really knows, but it's really something to watch. Focus, Izzy. Our mesh network? Every node's got vacuum tubes and quantum entanglement chips. Your data packet might travel through fiber optic cable, pneumatic tube, or get hand cranked through a mechanical relay station, depending on traffic. If traffic gets heavy, we'll pipe your data through a pneumatic launcher. Yes, with a hiss and a thud. You ever got a firmware update by steam pressure? We have. And before you ask yes, people keep asking us about our magical power sources. One time a wizard from some other dimension visited and kept insisting our steam-powered hologram projector was techno-magic. Started waving his hands around, trying to feel the ley lines. Sheriff Vix gave him a sobriety test, used a breathalyzer that runs on punch cards, Wi-Fi, mesh net running through brass-cased routers with exposed cooling fins. Every light pole's got vacuum tubes glowing next to LED strips. Every laundromat's a repeater station with steam vents and holographic status displays. If your smart fridge can't interface with both punch cards and neural link, it's considered offline. Law enforcement? Sheriff Juna Vix, half cyber troll who carries a diagnostic kit in a leather satchel and rides a hoverbike powered by a coal combustion engine. You get pulled over, they flash your system log on a brass frame display and ask if you want to confess before the mechanical tape drive finishes spooling up the backup. Town council, 5 goblins, 1 kobold with a data implant wired through copper skull plates, 1 orc with a noise complaint habit. And Barry Twite. Can't forget Barry, our municipal AI from the 80s who lives in a brass and mahogany file cabinet. His cooling system is water-powered. We literally have to keep his boiler running or democracy stops. We don't got politics. We do patch notes. We don't got zoning districts. There's heat maps, packet collisions, and 6 different routers fighting for dominance in the post office alone. And still, the trains run, the vendors shout, the city hums. Though I did wire up a direct line from my workshop to Jack's office for emergencies. Real emergencies. Not just. I mean, they're all real. The static discharge last week was definitely an emergency. So was the fluctuation in the V. The thing that needed immediate consultation. Here's the real reason they call it the Dark Dimension Paradox State 5018. We're literally just goblins, orcs, trolls, kobolds, all those dark fantasy races from your storybooks. Except here's the kicker. We have no idea what magic even is. Some interdimensional tourist once asked me about my spell components. I handed him a soldering iron and told him to make himself useful. Another one wanted to see our dark rituals. I showed him how we changed the oil in a '97 Honda Civic. He left disappointed. We're not the dark dimension because we practice dark magic. We're the dark dimension because someone saw a bunch of goblins and orcs living in Jersey and went, "Oh, must be evil." Meanwhile, I'm over here with my 4/6 self, trying to explain to interdimensional visitors that no, I can't curse their ex-boyfriend. I can brick his phone remotely if you got the number. Jack thinks it's hilarious. Says the Noirverse has actual shadows and mystery, but nobody calls them the dark dimension. He's got this laugh when he... Sorry. Off topic. Dark is what they call you. When they don't understand your tools, dark is what they say. When you build your life from scrap and static, dark is what they see. When you don't look like 'em, but you outwork 'em anyway. We're goblins. Yeah, but not the fairy tale kind. We're not monsters. We're mechanics, builders, coders, mothers, engineers. We fix things because nothing else ever did it for us. People call this the dark dimension. They're just mad. Our LEs are brighter. Me? I grew up rewiring school lockers to make 'em play radio. Built my first transmitter out of a fan, a record player, and a broken synth. Used to beam pirate broadcasts into town hall just to make Barry say dirty words on public record. Yeah, I was that kid with the 190 IQ getting suspended for unauthorized broadcasting. They said I was trouble. WGAI 13 said I was head engineer material. Jack said I was exactly what the station needed, and his girl Friday. He said it while leaning on my workbench, and I might forgot how circuits work for like 10 seconds. Guess who was right? Rustington made me what I am. Not perfect, not clean, but working. And that's enough. So, Paradox, that answer your question about the dark dimension? You want more? Want to know about other towns in the Goblin-Verse? Want the real stories behind what you humans call monster communities? Comment below. Tell me which wire to pull next, which system to crack open, because Rustington's just the starting node, and trust me, the signal gets weirder from here. Maybe I'll show you Jack's hometown next, the Noirverse. Not that I've been studying it or nothing, just professional interest. Very professional interest in shadow manipulation physics. This is Rustington, what you call the dark dimension, what we call home, where the circuit meets the soot. Maybe next time I'll get Jack to co-host. That'd be good for ratings, professional collaboration, boss and employee working together professionally. Not staring. Definitely won't stare. I'm very normal about these things. Professional. Very professional. Jack, if you're still watching, the quantum stabilizer needs adjustment again. Should probably discuss that in person when you get a chance. Maybe over coffee or a strong pour of something from your desk drawer noir style. Just talking shop. Professionally, obviously. Rotgut out.